Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into a pretty intense story today.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about resilience.
Yeah.
Um, and we're going to be looking at chapter 2 from this memoir we found
hmm
about just a completely life-altering event.
Yeah, this is a good one.
So just to set the stage a little bit,
Yeah.
we're talking comas,
Mm-hmm.
near-death experiences,
Mm-hmm.
a really long recovery.
Uh-huh.
And you know how the author is dealing with all that internally while everyone around them is,
Right.
happy to have him back?
Celebrating.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
it's a fascinating look, I think, at how people process, you know,
Yeah.
trauma like this.
Trauma and how we perceive it.
Right.
Yeah.
As individuals and as a community.
Okay, so the author starts by describing, you know,
Yeah.
waking up from this coma.
Right.
5 weeks.
Wow.
Gone 8 weeks since they've been at school.
Oh, wow.
And they're just completely confused, like,
Yeah.
what happened?
Trying to piece it all together.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
they're being told about all these surgeries. They had all these near-death experiences.
It's like waking up in a foreign country where you can't even speak the language.
I know. It's like, what is going on?
Yeah, exactly.
So on top of all that, like physically,
Oh, yeah.
the author talks about just wanting to escape back to this safe place, but they can't.
Their body just won't let them.
No, they're tired. They're on all these medications,
Yeah, bandaged up.
bandaged up. They barely even breathe.
You really get a sense of vulnerability there.
Yeah.
Just
So fragile.
Yeah, completely.
And then to make things even harder,
Oh, yeah.
there's the isolation.
Right.
Like their parents are allowed to visit, but
Yeah.
only one at a time.
Right.
And even then, sometimes it's just through a window
With a phone.
with a phone.
Yeah.
And they even talk about how hard it was to talk to the staff because of a language barrier.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
Just completely cut off.
Yeah, you're already in this scary situation and you can't even communicate.
Yeah, that isolation just adds so much to what they're already going through.
It's like another layer of
Right.
trauma almost.
Yeah, exactly.
So then on top of the isolation,
Mm-hmm.
all these memories start flooding back
Uncontrollably.
uncontrollably.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're so vivid.
Uh-huh.
Like the author talks about specific sensory details
Oh, really?
of the accident, of being in the hospital.
Okay. Give me an example.
Like they can remember seeing their body all messed up,
Oh.
hearing the doctors talk about their condition, the smell of the hospital,
Yeah.
the taste of the medication.
That sterile smell.
Yeah, it's like
You never forget that.
all these constant reminders of this new reality.
Right.
Like, well,
Like they're being bombarded on every level.
but here's what I thought was really interesting.
Okay.
Like in the middle of all of this,
Yeah.
the author actually makes this conscious decision to try and create the best life they possibly can.
Really?
Yeah, but then
Wow.
there's this contrast the author points out. Like everyone around them is crying tears of joy because they're alive.
Right. They're so relieved.
Yeah. But the author is crying tears of sadness and fear and uncertainty
And pain.
and pain
Yeah.
because they're the one who has to deal with all of this.
That contrast just hits me hard, you know?
Yeah.
It makes you think about how different we all are and how
Mhm.
we all cope differently with stuff like this.
Yeah. What might seem like a happy moment for some
Right.
could be really tough for others.
Absolutely.
So I'm curious, do you think the author's decision to make the best of things,
Mhm.
was that like a way to protect himself?
Oh, yeah. It could be.
Or was it more about trying to control the situation?
Maybe both.
Yeah.
Because, when your whole life changes like that,
Yeah.
it makes sense to focus on what you can control,
Right.
like your attitude and how you look at things.
Your outlook.
Yeah, it's like they're acknowledging the pain, but
Mhm.
choosing to focus on what's possible.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I don't know if I could do that.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Something else that really stood out to me was
But,
how the author kept talking about wanting to escape back to this safe place.
right.
Like, what do you think that represents?
I mean, it could be a real place.
Yeah.
Like a childhood home or something.
Yeah, or maybe it's more symbolic.
Could be a mental state.
Right, like a feeling of comfort and security.
Exactly.
But I also wonder, could holding on to that idea
Mm-hmm.
actually make it harder for the author to recover?
Ooh, that's a good point.
Like, if they're always trying to get back to what
Get out
God,
fast.
how can they move forward?
Like clinging to something that doesn't exist anymore.
Right,
Maybe preventing them from growing.
and becoming more resilient.
Yeah, you gotta let go sometimes.
That's tough.
Yeah.
So in this deep dive,
Mm-hmm.
we've talked about the shock of waking up from a coma,
Mm-hmm.
that crazy recovery,
Yeah.
that feeling of being isolated,
Mm-hmm.
and all the emotional turmoil the author's going through.
It's a lot.
Yeah, but you also see this incredible strength,
Right.
like this decision to keep going and to make the best out of a really bad situation.
Absolutely. It's all about resilience.
So as you reflect on this story,
Yeah.
I want you to think about what your safe place is.
Okay.
Like, what do you retreat to when things get rough?
Mm-hmm.
And could that be holding you back in some way?
That's deep.
That's something to think about.
I'll be thinking about that one for a while.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us on another deep dive.
See you next time.
We'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, take care.
Bye.
Bye.